What's going on, everybody? This is Tony. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. And welcome to the fourth episode of Into the Comiverse. Tonight, we're going to do something a little special. We're going to do a little Bruce Lee tribute because 2 days ago was the 50th anniversary of the death of Bruce Lee. Of course, he was considered one of the greatest martial artists in the world. And with me, I've got my man Durs. How you doing, brother?
Good. How about you, man?
Pretty good. And from across the pond, we've got Dr. Von Hoot from the Spiral Dimension. Hey, guys, what's going on?
Good.
So,
good, man.
Hey, so tonight is just going to be a wing and a prayer. Like I said, I've got some home internet issues, so i.e., I didn't pay the bill. I got to get the bill paid. Well, no.
You look good, sound good, man. So we'll run it for sure.
So we're running off the mobile hotspot on my phone, and hopefully it'll at least hold out for the show. Yeah, because when you're running low on funds because you're working 4 days a week and you got to make those important decisions. You got to choose what's important and what's not.
You got to buy those comics, bro.
Actually, I was thinking of food for the family. But...
Oh no, you can read the comics and then they can starve.
Hey, we can have potted meat all week.
Yeah, there you go. As long as you got some books to read.
But so I kind of let it go, and then I started a live show. Went, hey, I need the internet. It's funny how that works, huh?
Yes, sir.
So I don't have anything new for New Comic Book Day because, like I said, the Bills been kicking my ass, and next week will be a better week. But do y'all have anything?
I got 2 books, bro. I got 2 books.
Well, all right. Let's shift you over, and we'll get you started, man.
So it was my off week to not get books, but 2 big books came out, so I went to my local LCS instead of my main one. And let's go with this one first. You got Big Game, issue 1. Which is the Mark Millar universe. You got Nemesis, the Kick-Ass, Jupiter's Legacy, and somebody else that I'm not quite as familiar with. But it was fire. It was dope. Super dark tones, very adult themed. If you read Nemesis, you'll know exactly what's up with that. So excited to see. I think it's a 5-issue miniseries. So I'm excited to see where that was. Nemesis was a banger. If you haven't read it, definitely go back and read it. And then one of the books, along with Transformers, shout out to Legion of Comics for start getting me on this journey, but Void Rivals issue 2. I'm all in with this book. I'm all in with the Transformers book. Really trying hard to get the San Diego Comic-Con variations, so fingers crossed with that. Read both of those. Void Rivals was a dope little kind of a backstory of the characters, and then no spoilers, but definitely on the last page there was some more Transformers love, which was a deep cut, so look out for that.
Well, that's cool.
But that's it for me, man. I'll have thicker books next week.
What about you, Doc? You got anything or?
No, I've ordered both of those books, but they haven't arrived yet. But I've read them digitally, so totally agree. Like a Big Game is fire. Like it's a great story. Just really, it's interesting because up until Nemesis Reloaded.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't actually read any of the Mark Millar books.
Same. I've watched both Kick-Asses and very familiar with those, but I've never read any.
As well.
Mm-hmm, yeah. That was the other dude in the book, but he wasn't the same guy from the movie. He wasn't like bending bullets and stuff like that. But same thing with Nemesis. Instantly was a hook right up my alley. One of my favorite reads recently, and I was like, okay, dope, gonna check this out with all these, especially with how Nemesis ended leading up into this. I was like, okay, cool, I'm definitely on board with that.
And it did a really good job of making me want to read everything as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's genuinely a good book.
Mm-hmm.
Like feels important too because it's their first massive tie-in. So
right.
I'm all for it. Yeah, I can't wait for more of it. Void Rivals 2, I didn't love it. I thought it was all right, sort of. It felt a bit light on story, and I think my thing was the first book set the table pretty well.
Huge bar, bro.
And I wanted some sort of story development-y type stuff, whereas they sort of backstoried us.
See,
So-
I
so-
want, and before we get ahead of ourselves, let's get that groundwork. It's a new
Yeah.
universe. It's a lot of stuff going on. Give me that real. Take your time. We're not going anywhere. A lot of people are on board. You got the new Transformers and the
The
GI
thing
Joe
is,
stuff.
like, I am 100% on board with the Transformers stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like
Hesitant
Void
on like
Rivals.
the main.
Void Rivals itself, I don't know that I care enough to carry on if it continues this way. If you see what I mean, if they don't give me some meat to the story, like I need to really care about those guys outside of the Transformers sort of tie-in.
I think that's what they were trying to do in this issue by explaining more of their backstory and giving you more of like a home planet look and what's going on with that and why they're on this rock. So, like I said, new books is always going to take 3 or 4 issues to really heat up, but but giving those jaw-dropping, like cool deep cut moments in this book are definitely where I'm at.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna run through the comments real quick because I usually do that first. But
run it up.
I cheated. First one's me saying good morning, everybody.
Hey.
Good evening. Then we got my man Scott Vaughn. Much love from Chattanooga.
Scotty.
He says he's in the car getting dinner, running the last minute errands, but he's going to be here.
Nice. Be safe, bro.
Got my buddy Tim.
What it up?
What's going on, Tim? KBDM. Hello, everybody. Hey, Tim. Hey, KBDM. We got
Brian
LCS. Hey, y'all. And shout out. August 5th is the deadline to nominate your favorite YouTube content creators for the CBC Awards. So get those nominations in if you ain't already done it yet.
Yes, sir.
And we got Triple G Comics. Welcome
I've just finished up a live stream with him an hour or so ago. Triple G is the man. Check his channel out. It's awesome. And also,
it is pretty cool.
Go into the stream. You can come in.
Ooh.
Cool.
I like being inside of things like that,
Oh yeah, you do.
Kenneth Birch says hi to everyone is here tonight. Beckerman says, hey fellas.
The myth, the legend.
And then we got Brian cooking dinner, but he's listening in.
Nice, bro. Hopefully you're having a good dinner.
I'm a little paranoid. Like I said, I'm praying that the mobile hotspot stays on and it won't shut the broadcast down.
Oh, you'll be all right. Like I said, I got faith in you. I got faith in you, bro.
Hey, if we disappear, you know why. Put it out there.
Yeah, that'll be good. But this is the first time this month I've used the mobile hotspot, so maybe we should be good.
Ooh, Mike, hey everybody, just got back from watching Barbie. Let me know, Mike. Give me your honest rating right now out of how many squirt emojis out of 10 squirt emojis was Barbie is what I want to know.
A bunch of my friends just got back as well. I nearly went, but didn't. And they said it was awesome. So, they do, like, as a whole, love pink. So
nice.
I don't know what that means.
I saw a dope meme. It was like Trunks and Gohan and Goku and like Piccolo all like standing like all cross-faded and stuff, and they're like, we're here to see all the boys picking up Barbie tickets. 5.5 out of 10. Man, I might just have to get that double feature with Oppenheimer to make it worth it.
Yeah, that seems a bit harsh. Like I'm nearly going to the cinema.
IGN gave it a 9 out of IGN gave it a 9 out of 10.
Okay, 9 out of 10. Wow.
And IGN gives everything a 7 out of 10.
He says the middle was a little weird, but it had a great ending.
Okay.
I know Stephanie did a video about it. Madam Blaster, she did a video about it. I think she went.
I don't think she. I think she gave it the same, like a 5.5 or 5 out of 10 as well.
Okay, that's discouraging.
Shout out to Madam Blaster, who does a morning show every Saturday mornings, like really, really early.
They're great. I was well asleep at that point, so I didn't see it. But You know,
I was able to wake up and tune in just in time for Gary to pop that top, so it was a good morning.
I didn't see that.
I did go back and watch the unveiling of the Gary-ness.
Yeah, I gotta send Gary stickers just so he can pop
just,
the top, man.
Just so that happens. Yeah.
Made 70 million. Nice.
Brian said it made 70 million on Friday.
Nice.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah. I mean, Warner Brothers could do with the money, so that's good. After the Flash, come on.
Right, facts. Big facts.
Gotta say hello to Mad Spidey.
How's it going, my brother? Hopefully you're having a great day, my man.
So yeah, oh wait, almost forgot. We got another one pop up. We got Geek Out with Roscoe. Hey, what's up, buddy? Everybody should be checking out between the lines. He goes on right after Scott on that awesome Monday night lineup. What is it? Izzy and Scott and
Izzy,
Roscoe,
Scott, between the lines.
Yes,
sir.
and then
I generally tap out after in between the lines, but it's a great lineup. Like, it's a tremendous.
Yeah, that's an awesome Monday night lineup.
I love In Between the Lines. It's one of my favorite shows, honestly.
I'm always lurking. It's the one show that I'm watching like when I'm hanging out with family time, but I'm always got it up in the background, like on the laptop or something.
Mike says it's he says all I can say, all the trailers were only the first 10 minutes. We got Highland G. What's going on?
What is up, my man?
He's on with me on Triple G's channel.
Okay.
Nice.
And then Mike says it was about a depressed person playing with their Barbies.
Oh, now you spoiled it. If it pans out and it's a real person playing with dolls the whole time, it ruins the movie. I'll be mad. I'll walk into Oppenheimer begging for that. My eyes melted.
So here's the real question: if they make another Barbie movie, when's G.I. Joe gonna show up?
Right, facts. But who knows? I just saw that Ryan Gosling did a thing where he said he wants to play the next Ghost Rider.
Really?
I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, man, as bad as they are, Nicky Cage will always be my Ghost Rider.
I love the Nicholas.
They're terrible. They're terrible. I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. They're terrible movies, but man, I love me some Nicolas Cage.
I love Nick Cage too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like the first one, but not the second one as much.
Cool,
even though the second one had Christopher Lambert in it, I didn't care for it. But
right.
I don't even remember that. That's hilarious. I don't think I've seen them both since the cinema. I need to.
I think that was like the last time I seen them as well. Besides the random when I used to have cable, when it would come up on like a random night or something.
But I mean, let's be honest. We watched the first one for Sam Elliott. At least I did.
Sam Elliott's amazing. That's a good segue. I've just been watching this week. There's it's a Paramount show called 1893. I want to say 1883.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's a Western, and it's like when I started it, I thought, oh, maybe Sam Elliott's a bit old to be like the lead of this kind of thing. Sam Elliott's still on fire. He's amazing. That's if you like Westerns, which I do.
Oh yeah, I do too.
He's amazing in it. Like
nice.
it's great. It's a little slow going. It's very it's like a proper Western. Like they spent some money on this, you know. I love it. Really good, worth watching.
But my buddy Tim says he hasn't seen it, but he heard that G.I. Joe was referenced in the newest Transformers movie.
Yes, sir.
I can't confirm that, but
okay.
Yeah.
Your sacrifice will become our oath.
I've heard. I was gonna say I've heard rumors that there was like some kind of teaser, but
hey.
But hey. But yeah, going back to Sam Elliott, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a bad Sam Elliott movie.
He's wonderful. Blue Jean Cop. It's a great movie. It's got another name as well. I don't know. Maybe the US name's different. It's an 80s movie. Oh, what's the American title? Oh, that's annoying. That happens sometimes, like especially with 80s movies, they change the name. In fact, we're going to talk about Bruce Lee. I want to talk about the names of the films because they're different as far as I know.
I'll get. I was gonna say I'll get to that when I show off my stuff.
Yeah.
I was
But
just
yeah,
getting ready to say,
Sam
I know you got
Elliott's
a lot of dope stuff to show.
But yeah, I love Sam Elliott, and of course, he did movies like Mask, and I want to say, wasn't he in Shakedown with Peter Weller? I always get that confused.
Yeah, no,
Was
that's it.
Shake?
That's it.
Is it?
That is
Is it Shakedown?
Blue Jean Cop over here is what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, Shakedown. There you go. Oh,
All right.
yeah, Shakedown. It's a great movie. Great movie.
Yeah, even Evil mentions Shakedown. I haven't seen that movie in years.
Yeah,
But okay, let's
wonderful.
go. If y'all want to, I guess we'll go ahead and get into our topic since I have nothing else to talk about as far as comics go.
Show
and our
what
topic
you got
is Bruce Lee, The Legacy of the Dragon. Now, I'm going to read this. I wrote this down. Now, I had like 5 pages of Bruce Lee facts. I just cut it down because I figured we'll be talking about stuff like this. For those who might not...
punch? Is that one of the
God.
facts?
No, you're talking about he was the inventor of the 1-inch punch. And
that's what it
You've
was.
seen the video of him doing it as well. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Most of the stuff I'm going to read off is just stuff, common knowledge stuff. It says Bruce Lee was born Li Jun Fan, was a Chinese-American martial artist and actor whose career spanned Hong Kong and the United States. He was the founder of Jeet Kune Do, a hybrid martial arts philosophy drawn from different combat disciplines that is often credited with paving the way for modern mixed martial arts. Lee is considered by critics, media, and other martial artists to be the most influential martial artist of all time and a pop culture icon of the 20th century who bridged the gap between East and West. He is credited with promoting the Hong Kong cinema and helping to change the way Chinese people were presented in American films. Of course, Lee was born on November 27th, 1940 in San Francisco, California. He was raised in British Hong Kong. Britain was in control of Hong Kong at that time. He was trained in Wing Chun by, I'm going to say this wrong, Yip Man or IP Man.
Yeah. Ip Man.
He was also trained in Tai Chi and boxing, in which he won a Hong Kong boxing tournament. And of course, he died on July 20th, 1973 from cerebral edema, and he was 32 years old. And that, because, the whole cerebral edema, I had to look that up. I didn't know what that was. It's basically a cerebral hemorrhage from brain injury. And you can take it for what it's worth. When I was looking this stuff up, I had a few things pop up where they're saying that doctors now are saying that instead of that, his cause of death was kidney failure and drinking too much water, which I don't know about that.
There's been loads and loads of speculation about his death. The only thing that I've always thought was fishy was that when he died, he was moved to like 3 different hospitals to be actually presented as dead. They kept moving him, and that does seem a little bit odd, but it's probably that nobody wanted to be like, he's dead. It's
they didn't. It's like when Elvis died. The guy didn't want to be the one to pronounce him dead.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, y'all want me to show off what I've got, and then we can talk some more, or
run it.
All right, man. So, okay, so I've been a Bruce Lee fan all my life. I almost said Bruce Leroy. That's the wrong movie. Of course,
that is the wrong movie. Yeah.
Of course, The Last Dragon does get its influence from Bruce Lee, but
absolutely.
I've collected movies and everything, and I'm gonna show off a few things. Of course, first thing, I'm just to get out of the way. I got a Blu-ray of Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, which anybody that watches this is a pretty cool movie, but not everything's right.
I love that movie. I know that it's basically fiction, but I still love it. It's loads of fun.
How he actually met his wife was different. The whole thing about him fighting that guy for the right to teach other people. Now, he did actually fight somebody for the right to teach other people, and he did win. Now, the part in the back where he broke his back, because that dude broke his back, that wasn't true. That was made up, just like the return match was made up, and then the fight that he supposedly had with his brother at the ice factory when they're filming The Big Boss, that was made up. course, I love the whole demon thing because that kind of really gave it a mystique thing, and it made
Yeah,
you
it's
really,
loads of fun, but
it made
it's
you
all
really wonder if
parts.
the family was cursed, given what
Yeah,
happened to
I mean,
Brandon. All right, so next up, I bought this a couple years ago. This is the Enter the Dragon Blu-ray box set
mm,
for just $10. I got the Blu-ray, and then I got this little packet in here that's got some. It says blank is hereby deputized the ally of the dragon. That was pretty cool. And then it come with all these cards, dude. All these pictures.
yeah, they're great. John Saxon.
This is not bad for like a $5 or $10 buy from the Dollar General store. I mean, this is pretty cool.
Have you watched the special features?
I've watched some of them, not
They're
all.
fantastic. There are some great documentaries on that Blu-ray.
I might not be able to
really
present this too well, but this is a lenticular of Bruce Lee doing his nunchucks.
Oh, that's cool.
So that came with that Blu-ray set, and shout out to my buddy Tim because he got it first. Then, of course, I got the DVD set that comes with The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, The Way of the Dragon, Game of Death, which this was the one that he was doing when he died, right?
Yeah. On the special features for Enter the Dragon, they have the entire 38-ish minutes that he actually filmed of Game of Death condensed down. So you can watch all of his actual footage in one go.
And then I got Game of Death 2. Then this is my favorite box set. My wife bought this for me for my birthday. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna watch Fist of Fury tonight. All right, moving on to what Doc was talking about. I have VHS tapes as well. I got Enter the Dragon.
Nice.
And which I consider the greatest martial arts film of all time. Yes, I've said it.
It's a classic.
Okay. Now we have okay. This is the American release. This is Fist of Fury. Now, what Doc was talking about earlier is for the US releases, some of the names were changed. This is in Hong Kong, this is the Big Boss, but in the US in other places it was released as Fist of Fury. Then we have the Chinese Connection, which is actually Fist of Fury.
Yeah.
Then we have the Return of the Dragon, which is the Way of the Dragon.
Way of the Dragon, yeah.
And then we have Game of Death, which is basically the same. All these VHS tapes came from my buddy Tim's video store when they phased out all the VHS stuff. So chances are, when I was a kid, I probably rented these. And the last thing I'm going to show off, which is the coolest thing to me personally, is when I first watched the Dragon Bruce Lee story, I didn't know he wrote a book. So a few years ago, I actually tracked down the actual book.
Oh, nice.
The Tao of Jeet Kune Do. This book, I've read excerpts of it, but this is the book in the movie that he was writing with all of his Chinese philosophy and the instrumentation of Jeet Kune Do. This is probably one of my favorite reads. I love it. It kind of reminds me of Sun Tzu's The Art of War, actually, but it's the Chinese philosophy. It's more about what's the best way? Like he said in Enter the Dragon, the art of not fighting and blending your moves and everything. Yeah, be water.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go jump back to the comments real quick because that's all I've got as far as what I was going to show off. We've got.
I have nothing Bruce Lee, unfortunately.
Jackie Chan is his stunt club was handpicked by Bruce Lee. Yes, and Jackie Chan is in Enter the Dragon for sure.
Yep.
He's in there a few times. I know he's in the scene where Bruce's sister gets killed, and then later on he gets his butt kicked by Bruce Lee.
Yeah, it's just after the nunchucks in the layer down below.
Yep. And his Hollywood version.
Yeah, that's
Huh.
true.
Mike
She's
makes a
still
good
around.
point. Yeah. The daughter's still alive, and she's heavily promoting, her father's legacy, which is pretty cool. But yeah, but I take away from the man is, oh, you know what? There's something else I forgot to mention too. The thing about him, he actually was the one that came up with the plot and idea for what would later become Kung Fu. That was actually true.
Yeah, that is true.
But because I always thought in my mind that I always wanted to blame that guy that Robert Wagner played in the movie as he screwed him out of it, but he didn't really. It was the other people in the business that didn't want him to be in Kung Fu, and then in a way he kind of made up for it by giving him Enter the Dragon. But
talking of Enter the Dragon, that's the only one of his films which has his voice in it.
Yes, he was dubbed.
I mean, up until I think it was 90. Well, it was Police Story 3. All Hong Kong cinema was dubbed, and with Bruce, he was also dubbed with a different voice actor. So, with the exception of when he's doing the "wah" thing, that's actually him. But the dubbing is a different guy, which is interesting because when I first my first Bruce Lee experience was buying the box set of VHS tapes as a kid, and I got them, and they were amazing. And the music and dubbing on The Big Boss, which is incidentally one of my favorite of Bruce's films. I love The Big Boss. Maybe it's because it was the first one I'd seen. I don't know. I just think it's the best action movie up until Enter the Dragon. It's the music on that isn't on the original version of the film, so you don't get the same tune that you get when you get the dub, which is it's a real shame. I wish there was like a blend of the two, because I quite like watching stuff in the original language because it isn't his voice, but he is talking in Cantonese. I want to say it's Cantonese, it might be Mandarin, I don't know, but I quite like watching it in the original, but I love that music, so I've got to have that music when it's playing because it's amazing.
Adam,
what's up?
What we're talking about the Big Boss. There is one scene in that movie I think you'd like that. Doc's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. He's walking into the big bad lair. He just hops right over the fence, got his bag of chips. He's walking up. These two dudes show up. These two dudes confront him. He lays them up both out in like 2 seconds, and he snaps that chip. I mean, it's just.
Which is the movie that he fights? Which one does he fight Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in?
That's
Game of Death.
Okay, that's the one I'm familiar with. That was
the unfinished film. Yeah. He died during the
production. The one where he goes through the tower or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you watch the Enter the Dragon special features, you can see everything that he shot, which is roughly about 30 minutes ish. Mm-hmm. And like the version that you've watched that they sort of like smushed together with a different actor, really doesn't do it justice.
It's terrible. It's terrible, but that's what I remember of Bruce Lee and stuff like that.
That the stuff that he did shoot though was amazing. It's just such a shame that he didn't get to finish that film, because it is like the stuff that he did shoot was all action. So it would have been his like apex of movie making. I think he just kicks so much ass in that in the stuff that he did do. And the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar fight sequence is
it's actually
so
really
cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Mike asked me if I've ever
seen. To do.
Yeah, Mike asked me if I've ever seen Ip Man. No, it's been on my list to see, and I haven't watched any of them.
It's really good. It's really, really good. I highly recommend you see that. The sequels are less impressive, but the first Ip Man film is really, really good. It's Donnie Yen at his best.
Donnie Yen is amazing.
He is amazing, but I would say like this is him going for the Oscar sort of like level of like it's a really genuinely good, well told story with just absolute insane violence, which is always good, but also really, really, really well acted, dialogue and drama. It's a very, very cool film.
Well, Doc, you touched on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I did neglect to mention that he trained a lot of celebrities, including Charlton Heston, Kareem.
Yeah.
He sparred with Chuck Norris, Sharon Tate. I mean, there's a list of people that he did. He worked on, and of course, Chuck Norris in The Way of the Dragon. Man, that was
This is going to be controversial, but I don't actually like Way of the Dragon very much. Up until that fight scene. That fight scene is amazing. It's better than anything in the rest of the film. But that fight is phenomenal. But the rest of it is a bit sort of like, all right.
Now, in Way of the Dragon, doesn't he fight? I can't think of the guy's name, but there's a guy he fights that is in Enter the Dragon. I want to say, damn it, I can't think of his name. Robert something. But
Robert Stack, is it?
No,
it might be in.
He was Ultra Magnus in Transformers.
Yes, yeah, he was. I don't know why that pops in my head.
Tim says, I've always heard that if Bruce had lived and finished Game of Death the way he intended, it would have made Enter the Dragon his second best film. Well,
I think so. Like, I really think the stuff that he shot shows that film was going to be an absolute freaking banger. It's just a shame it never happened.
Tim, you're right. Steve McQueen and James Coburn were students of Bruce.
For sure.
And Evil says, my favorite martial artist is Jackie Chan. Top movie is Laughing Hyenas 1 and 2. Mike, I've never seen them. But, like, as far as Jackie movies go, I've watched Super Cop. I've watched The Drunken Master. I've watched Rumble in the Bronx. That's still one of my favorite ones. But
Jackie is legit one of my favorite film stars ever. And I had...
That's who I grew up with like Rush Hour and shit like that.
In the room with him once, and the guy is just amazing. Like, I was like 10 feet away from him, and... His star presence, like I've never felt like a teenage girl that was at a Beatles concert before until that moment. Like it was amazing. Like I felt all like, "Whoa, it's Jackie Chan," and he is amazing. Police Story is one of legit the best movies ever made in the action genre. It's wonderful.
And I'm even going to throw out that I loved his performances in both Cannonball Run movies.
Oh yeah,
because Jackie's in both Cannonball Run movies. So I mean,
for sure.
But yeah, well, Doc, what is your experience? You've been talking a little bit. So what is your experiences with Bruce? I mean, as far as watching his movies and stuff.
Well, it's funny. It's a funny one because it's twofold, but they don't really have that much to do with Bruce.
Yeah,
I bought the VHS box set, like I said. I watched them all once, and I loved them. I think I'm about 14, 15, something like that. And one of my dad's friends had some Jackie Chan films. And I lent him the box set, and he lent me the Jackie Chan films. He kept them for over a year. So I never got to see them again until one year at Christmas. I opened a Christmas present that was my Bruce Lee movies that I let in. So, there's that one.
Merry Christmas, you got them back.
Yeah, exactly. And I might add, I gave his Jackie Chan movies back well before. So it was a dumb deal, that one. But yeah, I love Bruce. He's wonderful. It's a shame we never saw what he could have done, both dramatically and in the action genre, because it's very, very close.
I'm gonna pause real quick. I have to roll out. My girlfriend needs me, so appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Everybody in chat, love you guys too. You guys have a beautiful night.
You too, brother. Thanks for hanging out.
Of course, always.
And before I forget, everybody, don't forget to watch Adam Durz's Sunday Night Sesh tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Tim put trivia fact. Jackie Chan got the inspiration for putting bloopers outtakes at the end of all of his films from Burt Reynolds getting the
Yep,
filmmakers to put the bloopers at the end of Cannonball Run. That is true.
100%.
I was hoping to touch a little bit about his legacy. Now, even since the 70s, when martial arts really exploded in cinema, you see, I don't know what you would call tributes or homages. Like, I want to say, wasn't Shang-Chi modeled after Bruce in the Marvel comics?
I mean,
I
I
don't know
would
if that's true or
think
not.
so. I don't know whether that's true, but I would think so. I know
And I
for
don't,
sure Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat is. I mean,
yeah.
it's
And the
I
guy from Street Fighter, Fei
yeah,
Long.
Ryu and Ken and Fei Long. Yeah, Fei Long, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see, there's a DC character that's called the Dragon or something. Is that Richard something? And
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know.
Law from
I don't know if he's
Tekken,
based.
Evil mentioned.
Yeah. Oh, that guy, the one I was talking about. His name is Robert Wall. I just thought of that.
Yeah.
But
I think
yeah,
Bruce's legacy can't be like overemphasized. From I mean, I can't speak to this because I'm not Chinese American or Asian American, but I would think like his mere presence is quite a breakthrough for that demographic. Like there just weren't people that looked like him in films.
No.
And not only did he look like him, he was the most badass guy in the history of cinema. Like,
oh yeah,
there's nobody, like, whenever anybody says who's your favorite action star, like, you can say Arnold Schwarzenegger, but nobody ever says that Arnold Schwarzenegger is the guy that would win a fight. Like, they always say Bruce Lee is the guy that could win a fight. He's the most badass guy in the history of cinema, like, by a long way.
Yeah, I've had people go, well, Tony, who do you think would win a fight between Bruce Lee? They didn't even get it out, and I'd be like, Bruce Lee.
Yeah, there you go. Like it is that thing. It's like we all, like, whether that's true or not, we all believe that. We all believe in Bruce Lee and his legacy, and that is super important. Like, I think to culture in general, like, he is the most important guy in the history of Chinese Hong Kong cinema. Like, he just is, because he took it from a level that was sort of like really low down on the totem pole to being like star level, and also in perpetuity as important as anybody else. I mean, the one thing that, like, I keep thinking about Tarantino's latest movie, Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, I like that movie, and I did find that scene a little bit disrespectful, to be honest. But the fact is, he's in that scene a good, like I said, it's 50 years after his death, like, right now. And not a lot of people can say that. Like, it's, he's as important as anybody.
Well, Matt pointed out that I'm assuming this is the DC Comics character Richard Dragon, the one I was talking about. Right. Holland G says Jan Lee from Dead or Alive. Mike again chimed in and said Jason Scott Lee was the only one that tried to adopt Bruce Lee's style of acting. Nobody has tried again. Tim says trivia: Uma Thurman's yellow outfit in climax of Kill Bill Volume 1 is a direct reference to Bruce's outfit from Game of Death. Yeah, that is very true. Yeah. And then we've got Highland G again saying Hitmonlee from Pokemon.
That's a deep cut. I like that. Yeah, because it absolutely is a Bruce Lee homage. Yeah.
I'm not a Pokemon person. My daughters are, but it seems like me like I remember that.
I do Pokemon Go, so I know. it's a hit.
I hear a lot of people these days, they like to speculate that if he was still alive, do you think how he would do in the mixed martial arts competitions? But a lot of people don't realize that, Bruce showed up at a lot of the tournaments and stuff, but he never competed. He was there mainly to talk about things, and he did demonstrations. But I might be wrong, but I don't think he would actually compete. But I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, in a completely different universe, I suppose he could have. The thing is, his style of fighting would not work with other styles of fighting so well. So he would be very good in a Jeet Kune Do tournament but if you had it in mixed martial arts, it would be very difficult with, the submissions from like the Gracies and all that. Like it doesn't work so well.
Yeah.
But
and like Mike said, only to demonstrate. Because that's where you see the videos like we touched on before, where you see him doing the 1 inch punch and the push ups with the fingers. He did a lot of really good demonstrations. When he went to these exhibitions and stuff. Me and a buddy of mine a couple of days ago, when I told him I was going to do this show, we talked about it, that whole mixed martial arts thing and UFC and everything. And I said, you know what? If he'd have been around during the birth of the UFC, he'd have been the first person to hold the title. Of course, that was just my opinion, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, that's an interesting point. I think he would be pretty high up there. But the thing about Bruce Lee is he adapted. That's the thing. Like he would not fight in the way he did fight then if he was in the UFC, because he wasn't factoring in submissions when he developed Jeet Kune Do, was he? So like it's a whole different kettle of fish, and I think he could well have been very good had he gone down that rabbit hole. And I would have loved to have seen it, but I mean it's completely
that's all speculation,
sort of like it couldn't ever have happened sort of scenario, because I mean that style of fighting wasn't even developed until like at best 97, right? Like it's
something like that. I don't remember when it started. I was going to say, shout out to the chat. Who remembers the Lipton iced tea commercial where he fought the Karate Kid? I think he fought the Karate Kid. I want to say he did.
It's news to me. I'm going to Google it as soon as we're finished. So
oh, sorry, Rob. Sorry, Rob. Now, and I'm going to touch on this real quick. During when I lost my home internet, I was fiddling with my phone with StreamYard, and somehow I had accidentally created 2 other live shows for the same time. So, and it won't let you delete them. So in the comments for those, I put the link for this one, hoping that everybody would find it. And Rob, I apologize. But I'm glad you made it. But yeah, like I said, like Bruce, I think Bruce's inspiration and his legacy will be untouchable. And hell, man, I bet even after I'm gone, people will still be talking about Bruce Lee. I mean, there are young kids today that still watch Bruce Lee movies. And so, I mean, it's transcended 100%, time.
Yeah. I mean, when I was 16, which was a while ago, the place where I used to rent videos was like basically an off license where you'd buy your booze. Yeah. And there was a girl that used to work there who was, I want to say about 18, 19. She basically, essentially she liked to flirt with me a little bit, and had like point blank said to me, "Do you think I remind you of Bruce Lee. Like, so, like she was that into Bruce Lee that like I had to be like, yeah, I guess you're Bruce Lee.
I'm gonna take a minute since Rob. This might be one of the first times that I've seen Rob in the chat on one of my shows. Y'all, everybody needs to go sub up to Rob's Fat Stacks. Become a member of his channel because Rob does something really special with his memberships, his shout outs, all the proceeds that he gets from his live stuff goes to Comics Curing Cancer. And that is really awesome. And that is one of the reasons why I subbed up to him for that and that alone.
It's
he
the
makes
most
really
important thing on the internet, beating cancer.
And he makes some really awesome content. And
oh yeah.
And if Rob wants to post the actual time, but he's got a C3 thing coming up in October where they're going to raise money for Comics Curing Cancer. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Rob's a legend, and what he does is super important to the real world.
Exactly.
Not just the Comiverse.
Absolutely.
Not that it isn't important to the Comiverse.
Here we go. October 20th to 22nd will be the big push. And I'm hoping that I have some money to participate and buy some cool stuff. With bills being the way they are, I want to do something.
Yeah, I feel you there. I remember last year I had no money when it was on, and I was like, oh no. It's just one of those things.
And here's a little fun fact. Only other person that knows about this is Chris the Comic Vet. We had a conversation back when I did my very first live stream, which was a test. After it was over with, we were backstage. And about that time, he was about to do his monthly giveaway where he did the, the Alex Ross Timeless Variants, the whole set.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I was really hoping that I would win that. Of course, I didn't. But I was really hoping that I would win that because I told him that if I had won them, I already had the set, so I wanted him to send them to Rob for the Comics Curing Cancer.
Yeah, that would have been good.
I think that would have been awesome. But, I mean, of course, it didn't happen, but, hey.
It's one of those things.
But, yeah.
This year's going to be big.
Yes.
Because it did big money last year, but because it did big money last year, I feel like this year it's going to be insane. I really hope that we all come together as a community and really kick cancer in the nuts.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I was going to say I don't usually swear a lot, but one of the popular popular slogans is "fuck cancer."
Yeah. And if you're gonna swear, that's the one to do it.
Yeah. Hey Rob, if you don't mind, in one of his videos, he said what this year's goal was. I want to say, and he could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the goal is $25,000 this year. I believe
that sounds right. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think last year they did 23, something like that, and it was a crazy amount, which I'm super happy about.
Yeah.
25,
yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
Rob says who gets offended when you say that. I don't think anybody would get offended when I say that. It's just I try to keep this, as Doc had said before, a family friendly show.
Yeah.
But when it comes to cancer, yeah, fuck cancer. I'm gonna go back up here. Tim pointed out something. Would have liked to have seen Bruce Lee in his prime fight Conor McGregor, although I don't think the fight would last very long.
That's an interesting one because I think specifically Conor McGregor, I think Bruce Lee could have a good chance at because of the way Conor McGregor fights. I mean, they would. It's a difficult one because they are both primarily stand-up, and it would be a war but I think Bruce would have a good shot. Conor McGregor has a really awkward style where in his stance, and I think that Bruce would see through that, and it would be lights out. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh no, we won't.
No, we won't. Rob said last year the goal was 10K and they raised 22,000. That is freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's remarkable. Like,
and
really,
I just
really
want to be a part of that in some capacity. I want to do something, but maybe like I said, maybe I can buy a book or something. I can do something to contribute to that. But
yeah, even if it's a small thing, we'll all come together. We'll do something. Let's try and hit 25.
Yep. Absolutely. That would just be awesome. And well, Doc, that's all I got. I mean,
no problem.
Let me ask the chat real quick. What do y'all think about the legacy of Bruce Lee? Do y'all think it'll stand the test of time?
I mean, I sort of think it already has, hasn't it? Like we're still talking about him 50 years later.
Yeah. I mean, 50 years after he passed, that was 2 days ago, and I mean, like I said, at later on tonight, I'm going to watch Fist of Fury. So I mean, love that movie, love it. Not as much as The Big Boss. Of course,
The Big Boss is an interesting one because there's been a scene missing from it forever, or not a scene, but I don't know whether you've seen it, but there was a trailer that had footage that isn't in the film, and there is one copy known to exist, and the person that owned that one copy that had the footage, I think it's like, the bit where they're at the sawmill and his arms are stuck onto the big saw.
Yeah.
Well, in the trailer, that footage is in there, but it's not in the main film. And Arrow Video have managed to finally convince the guy that owns that one print of that film to let them remaster it. So I believe that finally the film will be complete and have that footage in the film in the next Arrow release. So I might have to double dip and get that box set because I've always wanted to see it 100% completed. I love that movie.
Rob says, hasn't it already? Absolutely. Mike says, of course, he's a legend. And he also says, but will new generations know Bruce Lee? Well, that's up to us. My kids know about Bruce Lee. And they have watched the flick with me from time to time. And Tim goes ahead and chimes in and says that I think Bruce would wipe the floor with Conor.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. I think he probably could. I think like all things being equal, it'd be more your submission guys that would be a problem. Like I think a wrestler like, say, GSP would be harder for Bruce because GSP would, ride him for the entire time and he wouldn't be able to stand up. We're talking fiction here. It's
yeah, that's true. We got Highland G saying, I think the originals will always be loved. I don't think we have many new legends to replace the classics. That is true. And that can be said about any genre. There's not a lot of, all the originals are gone. And then let's see, Mike says, I think Donnie Yen and Bruce Lee would be a great fight. That I agree with.
I mean, it would be a great film. I'd watch the hell out of that. That would be amazing. Donnie Yen is a phenomenal martial arts filmmaker. Like, unbelievable.
He was in John Wick Chapter 4, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was great in that. He was the highlight for me, honestly. If it wasn't for Donnie Yen in that movie, I probably would be like, but he's great in it. I mean, he's
another little fun fact about Donnie Yen before Tim points it out. He was one of the stooges in Highlander Endgame. He was one of the men that was working for Jacob Kell.
Really? I need to watch that again. That's been a very long time since I watched Highlander Endgame. Really?
Yeah. He was crazy. He was the I guess Chinese guy that was with Jacob Kell in Highlander Endgame. And see, Tim says, personally think many future generations of martial artists will take inspiration from Bruce. That, yeah, I believe that is a given. I mean, there's been thousands, if not millions, of people that have been martial artists that have been influenced by Bruce. And yeah,
Yeah,
and
for
Mike says,
sure.
yeah, he was in Highlander. But
I need to watch that
yeah,
again. It's been a really
yeah,
long time.
people ask me, they'll be like, Tony, what's your favorite Bruce Lee movie? I go, okay, first off, are we counting Enter the Dragon?
Yeah, I mean
Because
that's the thing.
you take out Enter the Dragon, and my favorite Bruce Lee movie is going to be The Big Boss all day long.
Yeah, same.
I love that movie. And Fist
Yeah,
of Fury would
100%.
be second. I think my ranking would go the way the movies were released. The Fist of
Yeah,
Fury being second, and then Way of the Dragon, and I don't know, Game of Death. Like I said, I enjoyed it. But if you put
Game
Enter the Dragon in there, and you're like, well,
Game of Death is a bit of a sort of like what could have been sort of situation, which is a shame. Like the bits that are great are, all the stuff with Bruce, and the
yeah.
other bits are like, okay, like when
And
you've got the cardboard cutout and that, like looking into a mirror, which is a bit sort of like, oh no, why did you do this?
I'll admit and say that I've never watched Game of Death 2, even though I have the DVD. I may watch it one of these days.
Yeah, it's got very little Bruce in it. It's got actual footage of his funeral, which is really weird and sort of tasteless in the context of the film.
I was trying to remember which one that had his actual footage. I couldn't remember.
Yeah. The most, like, they use a lot of his actual footage in Game of Death. Game of Death 2 is very much like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel to get it like Bruce Lee-ish. It's a shame.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could say, like we mentioned it already, I believe his legacy will endure the test of time.
Oh, 100%. And not to mention Brandon Lee as well. Like,
yeah, Brandon.
They're intertwined, really, in so much as they both died really tragically, like when they really shouldn't have. Brandon Lee's The Crow is one of the best of the early comic book movies. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Awesome. He says, yep, Johnny Yen played Immortal Jin in Highlander Endgame, but to me, the fight between him and Adrian Paul, a.k.a. the Highlander, was better than the fight between McLeod and Kell at the end of the movie. That's actually true. I can go with that.
I sort of think of Adrian Paul as the Highlander over Christopher Lambert. Like, just because I love that TV show, I thought it was great.
I grew up with Christopher, of course, watching the films, but to me, it seemed like the films never really had. Each one was different. They could be a single installment, but with the series, you got an established Immortal, and man, I go back and watch the series all the time, especially the first.
Yeah.
The episodes with Tessa are my favorite. I think I almost cry every time I watch the episode when Tessa dies. So I mean, and then you get the episode. What was it like, season 4, where Richie finds the guy that had killed her?
Yeah,
that's a really good one too. But well, Doc, we're coming up on an hour. You got anything coming on this week?
This week I got a package from Retro Rocket Comics in Canada, and I opened it last week, but it's taking a while to edit. So hopefully Monday that'll be up, and then probably we'll have another unboxing on Friday. But also, because I'm on holiday for 6 weeks, I might be popping in and out of live streams a little bit more. I'm hoping. We'll see how it goes, but that's the plan.
Cool. Well, for me, I've got my shorts. I've been running my X-Men 90s shorts on YouTube, which have been pretty cool. Basically, it's the volume, all the issues I have of that volume of the 90s X-Men. And towards the end, since I was trying to fill up time, I threw in my X-Men Animated Adventures comics as well. The next comic book spotlight, which will actually segue into next episode of the End of the Comiverse too. the next comic book spotlight, I'm doing Transformers #1 from Marvel.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah,
so that'll be pretty
tremendous.
cool. And next week for the topic for spotlight, I'm kind of calling it my birthday weekend because my birthday is on Monday, July 31st. I'm hoping to maybe show off some stuff I got in the mail for presents for me that I bought myself.
Tremendous.
But I want to talk about Transformers comics, the movie, everything Transformers next week. So
That
that's my
sounds good,
jam.
mate. Yeah.
And I've got a package coming soon from Scott. Me and him did a deal where I traded him my copy of Spider-Man with the Spider-Boy cover because I didn't really care for it. I didn't want it. So
Fair.
he needed it. I sent it to him, but I sent him a stack of books and he's sending me a stack of books. So I'm going to do an unboxing video maybe sometime next week of that. And then after that, we'll just see what happens. But hopefully next episode, we'll talk Transformers and we'll just have us a little ball.
Nice.
But I want to thank everybody who's hanging out in the chat talking about Bruce Lee. I want to thank Doc and Durs for hanging out. And we're going to get out of here. And I want to thank everybody that may be watching this on the replay. I want to thank everybody that supports the channel because, believe it or not, y'all really do mean a lot to me. And that's it. Until next time, I'll see you later.